Let me say this. Joseph telling them, his family, Joseph telling his family about his dream was part of God's plan for the for him to fulfill his destiny. Joseph telling his family about the dream was a solution orchestrated by God Himself because Joseph's destiny was to be fulfilled in Egypt, not in the current country where his family was. He needed to move down to Egypt because God already told Abraham that his family, his people will suffer in a foreign land for 400 years. And it was through Joseph that the realization of that word, that prophecy, was to manifest. And Joseph needed to talk to his family. His family needed to sell him to the Ishmaelite. In fact, they threw him to the pit, sell him to the Ishmaelite, and from the Ishmaelite, they send him to Egypt. So, just if Joseph did not tell his family his dream, Joseph would not have fulfilled destiny. Even if, a lot of people say, he opened his mouth and no. Nobody has ever thought about this, that it was this arrangement. This thing was orchestrated by God to bring him into destiny. Because if it is God and prophecies, no prophecy of God ever, skate through like that without difficulty. There's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles. Somebody would have thought that when God said a king, the Messiah will be born. You can see all that Jesus went through. You can see all the after her birth and after, in fact, how Herod killed every from 2 years old downward. Imagine a whole country mourning 2 years old downward. You can see they went to Egypt, they came back. So when it comes to prophecy and manifestation, if Joseph did not tell his family about the dream, he would have still fulfilled destiny, but that destiny would have been delayed because he needed to talk to his family at that right time. They needed to be angry and they needed to be envious and threw him to the pit. From the pit, they sold him to the Ishmaelite and he went to Egypt. From there, he was sold to Potiphar. From Potiphar, he went to prison. From prison to becoming a prime minister in Egypt and the second in command after Pharaoh. So, what am I trying to say? If Joseph did not open his mouth, people say, hey, when you have a dream, you tell people, no, it's good to keep secret, but when it comes to the story of Joseph and other things that God has proposed and planned for man, the interference of man in some cases are part of God's plan for that manifestation, for that vision, for that dream, for the realization of that prophecy. So whatever the family of Joseph did to Joseph, mind you, they went there and Joseph had to be above them, ahead of them, prepare the corn, prepare the food, prepare everything. When Pharaoh had the dream, Pharaoh needed an interpreter. If Joseph was not in Egypt at that moment, there wouldn't have been an interpreter. And the corn and the plenty season, they would have wasted it and not have preparation for the hunger that is coming, the 7 years of hunger, famine that is coming in that land. So God was the one that planned the whole thing, that the family will just betray him and send him and go through those routes to get to prepare the ground. Because when the father sent the other of his brothers to Egypt to buy corn, they were supposed to go and return. And God already told Abraham that your family will be in Egypt. So if Joseph was among them and they didn't sell him, and let's assume they had a corn then, they would have bought the corn and returned. And that prophecy would not have come to manifestation. So Joseph needed to be sold by his family. Joseph needed to go through difficulty. He needed to go through, to fulfill destiny. So destiny is not just what you think. God is beautiful in doing his things. So I believe strongly that Joseph being sold by his brother was part of God's plan. It was not because he opened his mouth and they tried to betray him. They would have been able to kill him because he carried a great destiny. Praise God.